Hello, everybody. I'm Costa Macris, the founder of etletstalk.com and the People's Disclosure Movement. I'm pleased today to bring you a special presentation with a wonderful and interesting guest who's going to be talking about zero-point energy. And what I'd like to say that our guest is today is Matthew Klee. He's one of the current leaders and organizers of the ZPE Project Group. Matthew earned his PhD in analytical chemistry and spent approximately 40 years working for chemical, pharmaceutical, and scientific instruments companies before shifting interest to more spiritual and humanistic endeavors. These involve the development and the promulgation of electricity-producing devices based on zero-point energy. He's with us today to discuss this very timely and interesting topic. And by the way, what I also want to mention is that Matthew has many interests in other activities that I think would interest many of you out there in the audience today. For example, he's the inventor of more than 20 patents. He's a business owner. He's a martial artist, a musician. And later on in life, adopted more interests and became a licensed massage therapist, mediumship trainee, a CE5 enthusiast, and I know that will resonate with many of you out there in the audience, as well as a powered paraglider enthusiast. I know. How's that for a nice assembly of interests that keep him going and keep him interested in life? So with all of that, I'd like to say welcome, Matthew, to the program and to our audience.
No, thank you very much for this opportunity to let people know what we're up to at the ZPE Project Group.
We look forward to a discussion now. What I have is a series of questions that I will direct to Matthew so that he can tell us all about what he's doing, and we'll just take it from there. So at the top of the thing, why are we here talking to begin with in a general way?
I am, as you said, one of the leaders in the ZPE Project Group, which is a volunteer organization that is filled with members who have time, energy, and interest in trying to manifest these electrical producing devices that we'll talk a little bit more about. And it's important for us to have a distributed contribution, both from an awareness of what we're doing and what other people are doing in the area, but also we need help. We need people who are like-minded to participate in the group, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like. I think many of your followers and many people who are watching this are aware of recent disclosures and recent events that are raising awareness. So there is a moment in time when people are starting to understand that there are opportunities to manifest or create these electricity producing devices that get the energy out of the quantum vacuum. And it's just a matter of making it in a way that is universally available, safe, and more or less easy to implement without a lot of complexity. These types of devices have been around since the turn of the century in 1900. So Tesla had started with many of the concepts that were then partially implemented before being shut down, and others, there are records of others having produced devices in various ways that can produce energy from the zero-point vacuum. Those have been unsuccessfully made available to the public for various reasons, and some of those were active suppression by interests that would not benefit from having such energy producing devices available. But in the last couple of years, there's a shift. So those of us who are in tune with various forms of conscious entrainment and synchronicity are aware that there's a shift and an opening where both individuals are becoming more aware and interested in more. There's a little bit more active subtone to wanting to get involved, but also from our government in the US, at least, there's some talk about trying to uncover some of these technologies in one way or another that might have been suppressed. And so there's a little bit more of attention, we'll say, but also a little bit more opportunity that indicates to us who are in the field that if we are working on this in a distributed way with lots of people being involved across the country and across the world, it makes it harder and harder to suppress that. So one of the tenets of our group is to do this in an open fashion with participation from whomever is driven to do so. And we would do it in a way where the information is available and there's ability for members or others to view what's going on, have input, have criticism for it. And in that way, as soon as we are able to produce something with vetted scientific approach, that it works and it's safe and that it can do what we want, that makes it much more seamless to have that being replicated by people throughout the world, wherever they are. And so our mission statement, if I might, is the following. The ZPE Project Group exists to serve humanity, our children and our children's children, altruistically through the research, development, and dissemination of verified zero-point energy device designs in an open source manner to the world. So there's a lot packed in there, but as you can see, we're not here to make money. We're here to invent, test, improve, design, and document devices from any direction. There are maybe 8 to 12 different ways that there have been reports that people have been able to do this. So we aim to investigate, prioritize, and then manifest these devices for the world.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And like I said, I know that will interest members of our audience. And what I hear you saying is because it's open source and relying on volunteer labor, you are inviting people out there to see what skills and interests that they have to join your ZPE group project. And that's a very fine thing. I think that you answered my next question, which was going to be, what is the ZPE group? If there's anything you want to add that you haven't already said about the group itself, I'll give you the opportunity to do that.
Sure, thanks. So we get a little more detail. Is that the group is a volunteer organization. It's distributed, so we don't have a location. People are doing this in their spare time from their homes or businesses, whatever, when they're allowed. And we have regular meetings. We're based in a team approach. We have over 20 teams. There are maybe 5 teams active now, the most important of which are more organizational at the moment, trying to provide the structure or infrastructure to the group. And then technical teams that are starting to cull the information that's available publicly, patents, articles, YouTube videos, those sorts of things. There's a lot of material out there, some of which is not valid and some that's very valid, but none of it's complete. And so part of the suppression and part of the issues that have been covered by other people is if you're an inventor, often you're going to keep the secrets to yourself because that's how you're going to monetize. That's how you're going to get your money. And many of them will take that to their grave because they have not been funded. Others who have maybe been more open about their designs, they might have been offered lots of money and then they get put on the shelf. There's any number of ways, but the point is the information that's readily available is not complete. And we hear from our star friends and other people who have intuitive communications, and our current operating paradigm is we will have help. We have been getting help, but it's never going to be in the form of complete designs. We're going to be encouraged. We're going to be given clues, and those clues can come from many ways. And that's one primary additional group we have within our organization is the meditation and contact group. So you might be asking, how can I contribute? Just if you are somebody who does have frequent contact, or even if you're one who just you wake up in the middle of the night and you say, I'm supposed to tell them this information. We want to know about you. We would like you to be a member, because that has been a very powerful mechanism. And many of our people who are most effective at these communications are not technical. So they will come and say, I need to report to you this, whatever, and I've made a drawing. And so it's a handmade drawing and stuff. And almost always those drawings, that piece of information that we receive from these very important members of our group, are very supportive of what the tech team has been discussing. So it's a very key and important part of it. And then additionally, on top of that, there is some sentiment within the group that some of the most effective ZPE devices will have embedded in them a conscious intent in order to have the most effect. So I hope that points out there's a diversity in what we need, both organizationally, people with experience with managing other people, but also in responding to emails, writers who can help communicate what we're working on, other people that just do administrative tasks, the consciousness and meditation aspect. And we also have, I must say, a very powerful database and artificial intelligence group. So those who are interested in, or and especially skilled in database formation, management, and AI tools, we would like to hear from you if you have that skill set and that interest. We're cutting edge. So we're very excited about how that could help us with the tools that are available today to help solve some of these issues with developing these zero-point energy devices.
What brought you to this organization, specifically from the path of your life to saying, this is what I'm going to do next, and I'm excited?
Yeah, you know how things work. I'm working in industry. Many times I was in jobs and was given responsibilities that were not my first choice. So I would enter into one job, as many of us do, and then they say, well, you're needed here, or do this and that. So I'm a laboratory rat. That's what I love. I love inventing stuff and reducing. The analytical chemists are ones that say, what is it? How much is in it chemically? What's going on? And that skill set is kind of like a detective, right? So that's my core attribute. So when I was asked to be a team leader or a people manager, or someone to evaluate new technology for acquisition, I said, well, that's not my preference, but okay, I might learn something. Well, all of those things that I was given, those opportunities, we'll call them, and which I might have been hesitant to and might not have thoroughly enjoyed while doing them, those are all together what fits with what I'm currently doing with this group. So all of the organizational skills and communication skills, my ability to speak to software people and hardware people, as well as the the meditation and consciousness development team. All of those things I now see after were part of that path.
Yeah. I totally sympathize with what you're saying, or resonate, I should say, because I spent decades in a corporate environment as a technical person. However, finding myself, like what you're saying, uh, slipping into other kinds of roles as needed by those employing me to do other non-technical things, like what you were saying, become a people person, a project leader, uh, an evaluator, et cetera, et cetera. And like you, again, I resonate because I find that what I've been doing in the last few years, the last 17 years, has benefited from all those different roles that I thought just, were a way to keep making a living at the time. But now I see all rolled up into one, like what you're talking about. Every one of them is coming into usefulness, and has been, all of those roles in what's going on now. So uh, other people out there too in our audience might also grok that and resonate with that path that you've taken. So here you are. I want to know, and again, you may have already addressed this, but I'll give you a chance to revisit it. What's your ask? What is this ZPE project group asking for, needing?
Oh, thank you.
And again, feel free to repeat it if you need to.
Well, I think it's important. That's why we're here. We would like to hear from those who have time and have a skill set you think can contribute to our success. You've heard our mission statement. You've heard what we're about. And no matter what you do, you probably can. Even if it's just as an observer to validate what we're doing, ask the tough questions, because we want to have critics as long as it's in a positive way. That's only through challenge that you can make breakthroughs, and you can be called on the stuff that's not being productive. So even if it's that, but especially if you have a skill that's like if you know about some 0-point energy device, if you have personal experience, either because you've researched it or you actually have one, well, certainly we want to know from you. And I'll talk a little bit about our website. If you have administrative skills, we have electrical engineers, we have manufacturing engineers. We will need people who are good communicators. So if you know how to write and can help us translate tech garble to something that can be more accessible for people. All of the categories. So it's time, an identifiable skill, and interest in helping. That's all we ask. Now, to learn more about us and to let us know about you, please go to our website, which is ZPE-device.com. So you'll see a description of the project, and in one of the pages you'll see a member application. You'll have an ability to email us with questions. We also will have forms we call for technology submission. So if you are aware of personal involvement with a ZPE device, then there's a form there that helps get the information we need to be able to assess that technology. And then we also have a information submittal form. And the information submittal form is if you get a download or you've listened to this and then all of a sudden you get, oh, I think I'm supposed to tell you this. There's a form for that as well. So it's a landing page, ZPE-device.com, where you can find information and also how to contact us with any inquiry or a request to become a member.
That's great. And I would invite all of you listening here to please share this presentation widely with your friends and colleagues, neighbors, with your networks. Because as Matthew has been saying, this is an open source thing. And if you're familiar with how other open source things have been done, there's a power in the crowd and a protection and a synergy that happens when like-minded people, out of altruistic and noble reasons, such as represented by what the vision is here, when people like that come together. So I really want to encourage people in this community watching this message to help out Matthew, his teams, and this project, because it's only through all of us, this is coming from our hearts and our visions together, that we're going to succeed. And yes, please share it widely. What I would like to ask Matthew, and this is kind of a little bit of a surprise because he may not have thought of this, but I think that he probably has thought of it. Matthew, on your happy path, if you could sit down now and describe what the best outcome you see from this, like everything just fires, you get all the resources, the people, the opportunities, everything just works greatly, or even if there's some challenges that you overcome, still at the other end, what is your vision in a palpable, in a specific way of what this can do if it goes out into the world? What does that look like? What makes you happy to know that you've been part of bringing this out to the world? What does that world look like? How does it benefit the rest of us?
Right.
An open-ended question.
It's great, and it's perfect, because there are a lot of groups that talk about we would like to do this, and there's funding, right? It's always a funding thing. So let's say there are alternate groups that are trying to do this. So one of the most exciting ones is the International Space Foundation, and it's newly based in Switzerland. They're physicists, most notable being Nassim Haramein, who's done a lot of development, has just come out with a spectacular paper that sort of completes, or we'll say ties together, quantum physics. So I recommend you go learn about that if that's your thing, because it's stellar, so to speak, and it's really good. And they talk about wanting to start and working on things, right? There are other organizations that are also interested in starting to work on things. In my experience, if funding happens today for any of those, it's still a couple years before they get up and running, right? So there's a couple of years before it's starting to really do stuff, and then who knows, be 5 years after that where stuff starts to come out. So to get to the answer of your question, we are in our group ones who do. We want to get it done. Now we're self-funded, so yet it's not going to be power plant size things. It's going to be manageable, personal size house size or vehicle size, power plants. My vision is that we get something that is demonstratable and vetted, workable within a couple years, and that device, that plans can be replicated and is replicated and can start to be used in the world in however it can be used, whether there's things we can talk about. You can't just plug these things in because of local laws. So there's a lot of work to do about when we get this for full implementation. But for personal devices, or if you get yourself off the grid, using it on your house, I would like to see these in 2 years, a practical, usable demonstration. Once there's a demonstration that the stuff is real, then there will be a mind shift, because you personally benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Like those that talk, it's hard to engage and say, well, what do I believe? Do I believe in extraterrestrials? Do I believe in this? And is it really, there's really something out there? But if it's in your hand and it's powering your vehicle or it's powering your house, you get a personal benefit. And at that time, walls start to come down. Then as it's integrated into society and its various expanded use, it is real. Once it's real, then it can manifest. We can get away from burning fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm.
The earth can start to heal itself. We can use that power, as others have said. That power can go to growing food, reversing pollution, increasing the quality of life across the world, no matter where you are. And so my personal, the thing gets me excited about, I'm really excited about is can I be, you can tell it has affected me. Can I be one to help that?
Mhm.
That's my
Yeah,
vision.
that's that's your heart speaking, and many of us out here do understand that, because I believe many of us know consciously or subconsciously that we were born for these times. And if there's any role any of us can play, again, consciously or subconsciously, in bettering the lot of humanity and in ensuring that we're going to survive the challenges we have, that's the most deepest part of ourselves. And if it doesn't affect our nervous system and bring us to tears and to commitment, then maybe it isn't the right thing to be doing. But I honor what you feel about that, because I've seen that depth of feeling in other people like yourself who have a mission, a commitment to contributing, to finding their role, finding a place where they can actually be of use, their skills, their experience, to make things better. Because none of this will happen by just one of us. Again, this is saving the world, and our civilization is, again, the biggest crowdsourcing project out there. And certainly what you're proposing here with your group is a really critical foundational part of that. Energy, everybody uses that everywhere. And
It's so
if
fundamental to our
to
lives.
everything, yeah,
Yeah,
to our lives, to our daily life, to manufacturing the things that we want, and et cetera, to advancements in science and medicine, all of that.
right.
So
And wait, other, perhaps we'll have other discussions, you and we can talk about a little bit more details about each of these, including how these devices can also be used for health and recovery benefits. It's amazing. That's the excitement of the possibility. And
mhm,
again, our group is currently in existence, currently working on things. So we hope to be successful in a shorter time frame. And
mhm,
I must say, it's open source, and we are open and interested in collaborating with any other group. So none of the stuff we work on is going to be sequestered or secret, and we hope to have active interaction and collaboration with all of these other groups who are interested in collaborating with us, and thereby get the strength of that group synchronicity as well. But in order for this to work and the way we perceive our help, it comes from a shared consciousness
mhm.
and an intent for a better humanity.
Yeah. And that's why it's aligned with the evolution of that's going on, the broad-based spiritual in the widest sense of the word. Um, Things that are going on right now. We either have a breakdown now as a species or a breakthrough. And I'm happy that you've been here to describe your part in creating the breakthrough for all of us. So with
My
that,
pleasure.
yes, yeah, we'll close, and I know there will be more discussions, because we've just touched upon today on the top level promise and information exchange to get all of you out there excited and willing to spend and spread all this to your networks. So let's do this. Let's go team, and we'll be having more discussions in the future. And we look forward to all of you contacting Matthew and his teams there. So thanks very much again for being here today.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.